First look at F1 24 at Spa. Newly reconfigured Spa, of course, on F1 24. This is the first look at gameplay on the new fixture. We're on board in the Mercedes and hitting the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso right at the very beginning here. Traction really struggling to get the power down there. Traction all over the place in the rain here. The new look Eau Rouge and Radiant over the top. Onto the Kemmel Straight. It does look a lot different, Spa, by the way, now. A hell of a lot different. Not sure how long this video will be, but here we come into the Blanchiment chicane, and already you can tell the difference from just the curbing alone, that Spa looks entirely different to how it used to in game. It looks how it looks in real life now, which is fantastic. It does feel a lot different as well just driving it, which is weird. Even though you're still turning the same corners and riding the same curbing in terms of how much you ride it and track limits, etc., it does look completely different. Here you go, look, this is sunny weather here at Spa. On board with Zhou Guanyu, I believe, no, Bottas, Valtteri Bottas on board with. This is now the same Blanchiment chicane, and the curbing does look entirely different. Now on the right hand side, so much smaller the curbing there, and then down into the hairpin here. Keeping an eye on the suspension to see how the car rides those curves with the new changes to the gameplay mechanics. What do we think so far to how Spa looks with the new smaller curbing there around Pouhon on the inside? Again, change to how the curbing looks on the inside of the right-hander and the left-hander. And then around the final two, back end step there, final two turns here. Notice the change in the graphic as well at the bottom as to how you manage your battery. I'm in the way at the moment. If I remove my camera here, you'll notice that actually you're able to change. Even though this is a qualifying session, you are actually in the race now able to change your ERS deployment level as well. You have more opportunities to alter that and manage that throughout the course of the race. From overtake to hot lap, etc. Now we're looking at Monaco in the wet here. On board with the Red Bull of not sure at this particular moment in time. Can't quite see the number on the front. One presumes Max Verstappen. See the wet line developing and the standing water outside of the wet line. That looks much better this year. And of course, this season or this year, you will be able to cool your tyres better off the line in these wet conditions. So should you need to cool your tyres around Monaco, you'll be able to, or anywhere, you'll be able to drive offline on those standing water sections. Of course, be careful of traction on standing water sections, but your tyres will cool down more readily and it will be easier to manage your overall tyre temperature in wet conditions. The tyre temperature model has changed this year as well, so it's hard to explain it without being able to show you it, but certainly the way that the tyres on the surface heat up and cool down throughout is very, very different this year. Very different. I can't go into much more detail at the moment for fear of breaking NDA, but when I have the opportunity to physically show you the MFD, etc. with the tyre temps, we'll be able to see exactly, or show you exactly what I mean by the tyre temperatures looking different. They're basically, in hard G corners, tyre temperatures do more realistically go up with the strain being put on the outside tyre and then come back down again, of course, as you get onto a straighter section. We're putting less load through that individual tyre. Tyre temps fluctuate higher and lower and more readily in real time. Currently on board with Piastri here in the McLaren. It's like a slightly different nose cam almost as well, actually, although I can't say as I race with nose cam. Or I've driven much with nose cam to know the difference. Here we are at Silverstone. Silverstone newly done as well. Still very similar, but extra detailing added around the circuit with regards some curbing and most notably stuff off track. So it will visibly look more like it does in real life off track and around the airfield than it does in previous iterations of the game, which is always an improvement. Anything that replicates the authenticity of real life, for me personally, and I'm sure for you guys as well, is always a step forward. The inside of Maggots and Beckett's there with the red sausage curbs changed this year. Silverstone, one of the 2 circuits that's fully done with CAD, I believe, and LiDAR. I think Silverstone is fully LiDAR this year, as is the Spa circuit now. But Silverstone certainly visibly off track looking slightly different, and on track too. Here we are now with the TV pod camera, which is the one that I race in every time. And let me move my camera, or remove my camera, so you can see the changing in the tyre temperatures now on the right hand side. So notice how the front right is under a lot less temperature load than the rest of the tyres because of the nature of the circuit. And as you power around the right hander, it's gone up 2 degrees in just that one corner, and then on the exit here, the left front takes a little bit of extra temperature. Now, through cops, you would imagine that there's going to be a lot more load on that front left, and the tyre temperature should spike a bit more. It's 98 degrees at the minute, 99. You see up to 100 now as the surface temperatures were also going up there very, very highly, up to 120 degrees there, coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Now 103 front right, 102 rear left, and on the right-hand side, still in the mid to late 90s. So there's going to be a lot more emphasis on tyre management this year, because that higher temperature spike on the left-hand side is going to, in turn, create much higher tyre wear on those tyres as well. So you may end up having, look, 109 degrees now on the front left, while still being 95 only on the front right. Meaning that you're going to see significant more wear, more realistic wear, in game than you would in real life. I.e., at certain circuits where it's kind of front left loading, you will see that your front left will wear significantly more quickly than the rest of your tyres. So managing that is going to be very important. This is where are we here? Qatar? Is this Qatar? I didn't quite see the it looks entirely different. Entirely different. Trying to figure out what track we're racing at here, because it looks so unfamiliar. This is Qatar, yes, this is Losail. So Losail looks so different, it was unrecognisable for me in the moment. Yeah, so you go, Losail International Circuit in the dry now, here in Qatar. It looks like an entirely different circuit. It's going to feel so very strange driving this next year on the game. Getting used to this is going to be really strange. I'm sure we'll adapt quite quickly, as we always do, but pretty unrecognisable from how it looks on F1 23. I think you'll agree. Do leave your comments in the comment section down below with what you think about the visual changes to the new tracks this year, and what you think about the changes to the tyre model as well, with regards to the temperatures, etc. Qatar looks so different, it's actually weird. But tyre wear around Qatar has been intense, hasn't it? As has fuel consumption been on 23. So it's going to be really intriguing to see how the new tyre model affects how you drive at all of the circuits this year. Whether that be the newly updated ones, or of course the older ones that this year are unchanged. The new curbing on the left-hand side there in this section that was changed in real life, of course, throughout the course of the actual weekend itself, to add the extra track limit issues that the drivers were finding. Pit entry now there on the pit straight, not pre-final turn, as it was on F1 23 as well. Now back at Silverstone. Oh, this is China, sorry. Coming around This is the middle of Sector 2 in China. I don't believe there's been any changes to the way that China looks, but I might be mistaken. Okay, let's get rid of the webcam just in case they bring up the MFD. Saying tyres significantly worn at this stage, significantly deteriorated. A 3-second penalty here for Carlos Sainz as well, which is intriguing. Not sure what that 3-second penalty would be for. Corner cutting, presumably. And again, look at the wear there. 95% on the front left. Sorry, 75% on the front left compared to mid-40s in other areas, because that front left takes such a pounding around China with the really long turn 1 and the really long turn 13. Temperatures significantly higher on that left-hand side as well, and Carlos is going to have to get off those tyres here because they're so outrageously worn. That front left was astronomically high there at 100 plus degrees centigrade, and in the 70s compared to the mid-40s, I think, elsewhere. Into the pits here to make the change, and out we go again. Temperatures back at a constant 70 all round. Carlos going to have to work his way back from P18 here in this one, which is going to be a hell of a challenge. But notice how the tyre temperatures warm up throughout the course of these early stints. Look, on the outside again, massively high temperatures, twice the surface temperature on the left-hand side to the right-hand side on the front there through turn 1, and already significantly different changes to the carcass temperature as well on the left-hand side of the car compared to the right-hand side of the car. So it is going to be much more difficult to manage tyres next year, which, especially for me on controller, is going to be pretty damned difficult to manage. I have to be honest. Pretty damn difficult indeed. This is now heavy cloud in China, and weather conditions are going to have more of an impact on track temperature and then, of course, tyre temperature indeed this year as well. So a slight change in track conditions is going to make more of an impact on your capability to manage your tyres at any given circuit at any given moment in time. On board with Lewis Hamilton here in the Mercedes on lap 6 of 19 in a sprint race at China. Now in the wet at China here on board with Daniel Ricciardo. Back end stepping out on him quite considerably there around the long turn 13. Onto the straight now. And driving offline to try and cool the tyres, you'll notice. A drier line is forming though, but there is still definitely a lot of standing water there. Run all the way out of ERS, and up the inside goes Lewis Hamilton here into the hairpin, almost forcing him entirely off track there, Daniel Ricciardo, losing the back end slightly, trying to get forward and now into the final turn to start a new lap. It's so tentative, and you see how the car really changes there with the suspension over that final curbing. Big changes. And an example of the new real-life driver radio calls. When you're driving as a real-life driver, you will have their across-the-line radio calls. And also, if you crash, etc., you'll have a radio call that reflects that from that real-life driver as well. You do have to be driving as that driver to get the radio calls, though. So, for example, if you're in driver career driving as yourself, then you won't hear those radio calls. Forgive me, editing in the background. What's been going on F1, on FC24 right now. But that's going to be a lovely addition as well. I personally probably won't be driving as real-life drivers too much, but I know that that addition will certainly make you guys want to drive as real-life drivers a lot more. Let me know your feedback in the comment section down below. Do, of course, check out F124, and if you would like to pre-order it, you can do so on PC with an affiliate code from me and get a discount via either the EA app, via Origin, or the EA website. If you pre-order the game on PC, any in-game purchases post-launch as well, or buying the game post-launch too, if you use the code Chesnoid at checkout on the EA app, Origin, or the EA website, you will get a discount on your F124 PC copy. I'll also make 5% as well as a caveat to that. So you save some money, I make a bit of money. Very much looking forward to F124. Hopefully you guys are as well. Do drop the video a like if you're looking forward to more F124 content. The driver career will be not too long in coming now. And I'll see you then.